Hello, welcome to the Blackboard Basic Workshop for Students. My name is Linda Cifelli. I'm a librarian in Keene University's Nancy Thompson Learning Commons, and I will be your host for today's workshop. We'll focus on a number of objectives today. For instance, we will review various basic Blackboard functions. We will discuss options for obtaining technical assistance with Blackboard. We will consider several technical requirements for Blackboard when you're working on your own computer, laptop, or other device. We will explore steps for submitting assignments for a course, as well as discussing rules for completing tests and quizzes. Finally, we will review the process for accessing live sessions, as well as recordings of live sessions. So as we walk through today's workshop, I will share my screen and we'll try to talk about these various things that you'll be able to do when you have a course that's being offered either fully online through Blackboard, perhaps as a hybrid course where you're meeting part of the time face-to-face and part of the time online, as well as in scenarios when Blackboard is being used as part of a face-to-face course. I'm going to go over to the Learning Commons website at learningcommons.keene.edu. And at the moment, we are in the middle of the remote education period of time for the COVID-19 pandemic. And at the moment, we do have a number of help options that pop up as soon as you visit the Learning Commons website. For instance, in the middle of the screen, there's this big white box labeled Welcome to Remote Education Support. And there are several Blackboard help features that are built into this box. For instance, in the section labeled Blackboard Resources, there's a blue button labeled Resources for Students. When you move your cursor over that button, a list of guides pops up. And for instance, if you need help with using Blackboard Collaborate on a Chromebook, you can click the link to access a guide that will help you do that. As you scroll down the list, there are a number of other guides that are available, and if you scroll down further, some additional ones will appear as well. So for instance, if you need help with tests and surveys in Blackboard, or accessing your grades and so on, these guides are here to help you. I should also point out that when you visit the Learning Commons website, there is a remote education support chat window that pops up. And if you do have questions about your use of Blackboard for a course or any other questions relating to the Learning Commons and the services available through the Learning Commons, including help from reference librarians or Writing Center support, public speaking lab support, or tutoring support, you can always send your questions through the remote education support chat window. What I'm going to do is navigate over to the university website, and we will access Blackboard by way of the university website. If you haven't done this before, all you need to do is move your cursor over the Quick Links button in the top right corner and click, and the very first item on the menu is for Blackboard, and you simply click that link, and it will lead you to the Blackboard homepage, and then just log in with your Keene Google email username and password. So the same thing that you use for email and probably for KeeneWise is what you would use for your Blackboard account. Log in, and then you should see the contents of your Blackboard account. Before we do anything, I wanted to point out that in the top right area, there is a link for BB Technical Support. And if you click that link, it will take you out of the Keene University site and over to the Blackboard help area. And you can use this online support center website to access answers to frequently asked questions. If you need help, you can browse the Get Support by topic. There's a section for Blackboard for students, and there are a lot of answers to frequently asked questions posted here. So if you do find yourself running into problems, you could always browse this support center site and see if you can get some help online right away. If you do need more in-depth technical assistance, there is an option to call the 1-844 number. This is a Blackboard number. There's a chat option, and you can even click Create a Case and submit your technical support question online. And this will connect you, as I said, to the Blackboard tech support people. They may end up referring you back to Kean University's Office of Computer and Information Services. I believe that number is posted here as well somewhere. I don't see it at the moment, but I will give it to you now quickly. The phone number for Kean University's Office of Computer and Information Services is 908-737-6000. You could also contact them by email at support@kean.edu, and I will give you that contact information at the very end of today's workshop as well. That email address and that phone number will connect you to the help desk at Kean University. Before we do anything else, I should mention that it is recommended for you to use Google Chrome as your browser when using Blackboard. If you're using a different browser, you may find that some things are not quite working the way they're supposed to. So please try to use Google Chrome, or if you don't already have it on your computer, try downloading it so that way you can access Blackboard and hopefully not run into any technical problems. So again, we are currently logged into a Blackboard account. This is a Blackboard account that the librarians use. So there are some things here that are not currently active, and these courses may look a little bit different than the ones that you would typically have access to as you are taking courses at Kean University. But I am going to use one of these courses to demonstrate some of the common functions that are available to you in Blackboard. So if you look in the My Courses section on the right side of the screen, you should see the list of all of the courses at Kean in which you are currently enrolled. You might also see some help courses, such as an online learning orientation for students that should be available to you that can help you navigate Blackboard in general and use Blackboard for your courses. So you might want to look for that as well. You might also see the Learn Library Essentials for Access and Research Navigation course, which is available to most, if not all, students as well, that helps you with library research. For now, I'm going to click on one of my other courses to use as a demonstration tool for today's workshop. And now that I'm clicked into that course, I'm going to click on the student preview so we can see what a student would expect to see within Blackboard. So it does look a little bit different than what an instructor would see. So typically when you log into one of your Blackboard courses, look along the left-hand side of the screen. There are a number of items in the menu. You might see that there is a link for announcements. For some reason, the announcements link is further down on the screen. Typically, it would be up further higher on the left. But usually when you click into a course, the announcement section is what you see in the center of the screen anyway. And this is where your professor will post important messages to students enrolled in the course. The professor might give you a heads up about upcoming due dates, or perhaps a link to an upcoming live session that you will be expected to attend or be invited to attend, or anything else that's important for that particular course. So there will be a number of announcements showing up usually, and what you'll find is that the most recently posted announcements by your professor are showing up first, and as you scroll down, the older announcements will be there unless the professor happens to delete them at some point. Also along the left-hand side of the screen, you'll typically see options for contacting your professor. For instance, here's a send email option on the left. I can click and it will give me an option to reach out to the professor and perhaps even the other students in the course. It depends on how the professor has that option, the email option set up. You might also see a messages option on the left. I don't see it here in this particular course, but messages is also usually an option that you can use for contacting your professor and for your professor to contact you. Along the left-hand side, you might also see a link to the course syllabus or information about the course. And many of your professors will also have the content arranged by week of the semester. So for instance, week 1, week 2, and so on. But different professors may organize things in different ways. So just take a look and carefully explore and see how the content is organized by your different professors. If you do have questions, remember you can always reach out to the professor. I'm going to click on week 1 and just to demonstrate some of the things that you might see in some of your courses. For instance, in this fake course, week 1, there are several assignments posted. In fact, there's a discussion board assignment posted here, and that's a common feature that professors will utilize within their Blackboard courses. You might see that there's a question or a research topic. The professor will explain what is expected of you. You may have to go out and do some research and find an article and then write a critical analysis of that article and then post it in the discussion board. So if you click the link for the discussion or discussion board, depending on how your professor has labeled it, you will usually see a discussion thread. And for instance, here there is one thread posted. If you click the link for that thread, here's a description of what you're supposed to do. And this is actually the first post in this particular thread. And you can click reply, and then it gives you a chance to post your reply within the discussion thread. Just be sure that you follow the instructions provided by your professor. If you're supposed to find information sources like articles or websites, make sure that you cite them within your post. You should be following the required citation styles, whether it's MLA or APA, depending on your professor. It could be something else as well. But you can post your message. You can even scroll down and attach a file if necessary. Next to attach file, you can click Browse My Computer. There's also a Browse Dropbox. So try this out on your own computer, and it should allow you to access the contents of your documents folder or whatever you have on your computer, and then you can attach or just type in or copy and paste your content into the discussion board post. As I mentioned, please follow the instructions provided by your professor. In addition to posting your initial discussion board post, you may be required to reply to posts made by your classmates. You might have to reply to 1, 2, or more. Just make sure that you follow the requirements of the discussion board assignment. I'm going to go back out to the week 1 content. Oops, leave site, nope. Let me just go here. I'm going to actually cancel the discussion board post. See if it allows me to do this. Okay. And then click week 1. Okay, there we go. Sometimes you do have to click in different areas. If it's not letting you do what you're trying to do on the first try, just try it again and see if you need to click somewhere else. Here I have an assignment posted under week 1 as well. And notice right here on the week 1 content page, there is a little bit of a description of the assignment as well as a link to an attached file. I can click on week 1 assignment, and it will also provide some additional information. In this case, the possible points available are also posted. So that's a common thing for your professors to do, as well as the instructions. And once again, a link for a handout or a worksheet, or it could be a PowerPoint presentation or something else. So your professor may give you content that you can use for the assignment. So here I have access to a Word document. You may need to work on that attached Word document or work somewhere else and complete the assignment. And if you want to, you can attach the file when you're completing the assignment. You do have an option for attach files. You can browse computer, browse Dropbox, browse cloud storage, so whatever it is you're using. It also gives you an option to click the right submission button And once again, you should have a text box that pops open where you can actually type in the answer to your assignment. So type in paragraphs or a sentence or whatever it is that you need to apply. So just follow the instructions once again. And when you're done submitting, just click the button to submit. If you need to save a draft, just make sure that you're saving the draft if you're not submitting right away. I'm going to click cancel and go back out of that. Before I move out of the assignments topic, I do want to mention that in many cases, your professors will require you to submit your assignment first through either Turnitin or Safe Assign. The professor will probably have set up Turnitin or Safe Assign within the Blackboard course. Follow the instructions provided by your professor. Both Safe Assign and Turnitin are plagiarism detection tools that can help you to improve your writing, avoid unintentional plagiarism, and just avoid problems in general. So follow the instructions provided by your professor, and typically you'd either be uploading a Word document into one of these tools, or perhaps you would copy and paste the text into the document and have it run through the plagiarism detection tool. Another thing that you will often need to do within Blackboard is to complete a quiz or a test. And here we do have another example in week 1 for, in this case, the zombie preparedness test prepared by one of my colleagues, Craig Anderson. So here we have a link to the test. And what you will find is that your professors are often making the test or the quiz available only for a limited period of time. So make sure that you're following the instructions on your syllabus or the instructions provided by your professor, because if you try to access the test or the quiz after that period of time is passed, you will no longer be able to take the test, and you want to avoid that situation. Here we have the instructions for the test. You click the begin button. And then here it says that this test allows multiple attempts. I can save my answers and resume the test later, but your professor may not allow multiple attempts. So make sure that you follow the instructions. You can click your answers, click Save Answer, and then when you're ready to submit the test answers, click Save and Submit, and there you go. What you will probably find is that most of your professors are requiring you to use the Respondus Lockdown browser in order to complete tests or quizzes. Respondus Lockdown browser is actually external software. It's something that's from outside of Blackboard, and it allows you to take a test securely within Blackboard. So once you access a test through Respondus Lockdown browser, you are no longer able to access other websites or other materials on your computer. So please refer to the Kane Online Student Orientation tutorial, which should be listed under My Courses in your own Blackboard account. The Kane Online Student Orientation tutorial indicates that the Respondus Lockdown browser works in all browsers except Google Chrome. Each course taught via Blackboard should have information about Respondus, as well as a link that will take students to the place where they can install the version of Respondus that is specific to Kane University. Follow these steps to install and utilize the Respondus Lockdown browser on your own computer so that you can take your content or course assessments. You should also be able to contact Respondus Lockdown browser support, the tech support, and fill out a form if you experience any technical difficulties. But it is important that you set up Respondus Lockdown browser well in advance of any associated due dates. So again, look for the instructions provided for Respondus Lockdown browser within your courses and any information provided by your professors. So I'm just going to go back out. I'm going to exit the quiz here, go back out to week 1. Oops, new site, leave. Okay, here we go. Now, one of the main objectives for today's webinar is to make sure that you're comfortable with accessing live sessions taught by your course. Many of your professors will be utilizing an online web conferencing tool that's available through Blackboard. It's called Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. And if they're doing so, they are probably going to provide a link to live sessions somewhere along the left-hand side of your screen. I'm actually going to exit the student preview in order to demonstrate this part of our workshop. Okay, so notice how along the left-hand side of the screen there is a link for live sessions, but some professors may call it live lectures or live something else or online sessions. So it will depend on the professor how they've gone about labeling that option. You may also see a link to a live session provided within the announcements posted within the Blackboard course. But here I'm going to click on live sessions along the left-hand side of the screen. It's taking me to the Blackboard Collaborate Ultra page within Blackboard. And notice how, in this case, there actually is a live session scheduled for right now. It happens to be Wednesday, July 1st, and the session is already in progress. But you may see that your professor has already scheduled future sessions that are not yet in progress. So right now we only have the one listed. In order to access the live session, simply click the link for that session and then click on the Join Session button along the right. Notice how there is an anonymous dial-in phone number. So if you don't happen to have a microphone or audio on your computer, you could always call in on your cell phone or your phone, and in that way you'd still be able to hear the audio from the session, even if you're not hearing the audio through your computer. Okay, so I'll just click on Join Session. And it's going to run through the setup process. So it's going to give you a chance to make sure that your audio and your video is working if you want to use them. Here we have, this is in the middle of the screen. Let me move that out of the way. Notice how right now the microphone is slashed out. So I need to click that and activate my audio. So sharing audio, and if I want to mute it again at some point, I would just click it, and then the little microphone icon would be crossed out. Here I have the camera. So if I want to activate my video camera, I can do that. I'm going to leave it off for now. And notice how there's also a little icon with a little person with their hand raised. And this is how you can actually let your instructor know that you're trying to ask a question or answer a question. So I'm going to go ahead and click in the bottom right corner. There is this purple tab, and this is where I can access a number of the options for the Collaborate panel options. And this is where you'll find that your professor is going in order to share content within the Blackboard live session. But the professor and you are also able to do some other things as well. So for instance, there is a little chat bubble in the bottom right. If you click, it allows you to chat or send questions or comments. So you'll be able to communicate with your professor and other students in the course through the chat option. Right now, there's no one else signed into this particular live session in Blackboard, so I'm not really seeing other people that I can chat with. There's another option in the Blackboard control panel down here. It's the share content option. So I'm going to click, and this is where your professor, or if the professor gives you control, you can actually do things here as well. So if you're going to be doing a presentation for the class, you'll be able to share a blank whiteboard, and you can actually write on the whiteboard or do shapes or do different things, text boxes. So there's some fun things that you can do with that whiteboard. Um, there's a share application screen, which is what your professors would do if they're trying to demonstrate something like a database search or want to show a video within the online session. This is where they would go to do that share application screen. I'm not going to do that because I'm actually already sharing my screen through Google Meets. But there's share a camera. That's where I think the professor can give you the power to share what's on your computer. And then there's also share files. I had already set this up earlier. Imagine that your professor might want to use the live session to share a PowerPoint presentation or maybe a PDF to show something on the screen. So here I have a PowerPoint that I had already uploaded prior to our workshop today. And this allows me to share, oops, that doesn't look very good, but it does allow me to share a PowerPoint presentation. So as I said, your professors may do this as well to share the slides from a PowerPoint or perhaps to share a video. This is probably how they would go about doing it. So there are some pretty nifty things that you can do within Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. I should note that you may find that your professors are using other online session tools. For instance, some of your professors may use Zoom starting in the fall semester. So just be sure to watch out for instructions provided by your professor about how to access live sessions for your courses. If you do find that you're having trouble during a live session, you can't hear things, so you're not able to see the screen or share your own screen or your audio, there is a settings tool in the bottom right corner. So you can always change your audio or video settings if necessary or make sure that things are working correctly. If you make changes here and you find that you're still having problems with your audio or your video, you may need to just go into your Google Chrome browser settings and make changes there. So look for the three vertical dots towards the top right corner and then go into settings. I'm not going to go all the way in, but that's where you would hopefully be able to change your audio or video settings based on your browser and your computer and the way things are working together. Okay, so I think that's everything that we were meant to cover for today, except for one last thing. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate in the top left corner, there's a session menu. And typically what your professor will do when they're hosting a live session is they will record the session. And in this case, if you were absent during a live session or if you would like to revisit the live session at a later time, you would be able to access the recording and view it again. So your professors would have gone to the top left corner and would have clicked start recording and would have recorded the session and then ended that recording. After a period of time, that recorded session will be available to you again. So let me go ahead and leave this recorded session for now. There's a leave session down option at the bottom. It gives you a chance to rate the session. I'll skip it for now. Okay, so that was me leaving the Blackboard Collaborate Ultra live session. I'll go back over to the Blackboard course. Notice how the live session did open up in a new window. So if your professor recorded the live session and you want to access the recording at a later time, you would simply go into your Blackboard course, go back to the live sessions area. So again, I'll click live sessions on the left. Notice how towards the top of the live session menu, there's this long black bar, but in the left-hand corner of that black bar is a menu. If you click, you'll be able to click recordings, and that's where you would find a list of links to the recordings that have been made within the past 30 days. So as long as your professor recorded the session, that's where you should be able to access the recording. So now I think that is all that we were going to cover during today's webinar. Let me back out and just highlight a couple of the places where you can go for help if you do run into problems with using Blackboard for any of your courses. Remember, there is the Blackboard Technical Support link towards the top right corner of your Blackboard account. You could always go there. But also, I want to give you my contact information. Once again, my name is Linda Cifelli, and my Kane email address is lcifelli@kane.edu. But you can also visit learningcommons.kane.edu, the homepage for the Learning Commons, where you can get a lot of the support guides for Blackboard. You can actually attend a Blackboard workshop, and I'll show you that link again in a moment. But here is the email account for the Office of Computer and Information Services, the Technical Help Desk, so support@kane.edu. But you could also call them at 908-737-6000. I'll come back here in a moment, but remember, on the Learning Commons homepage, there are the Blackboard resources for students. You have those guides that are posted, but if you'd like to attend another workshop, just click Register for Workshop, and then you can click and register for any of the upcoming Blackboard Basic workshops that are intended for students. We are offering workshops for faculty members as well. But once again, here's my contact information, as well as the Learning Commons and Computer and Information Services contact information. We hope that you will reach out for help if you need it, but we hope that your experiences with Blackboard will run smoothly. But if you do run into little technical problems, please let us know, and we're always happy to help. So thank you for attending today, and we hope to see you soon. Have a great day.